All right. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight to learn more about and provide feedback on the Orange G-Line Transit Neighborhood Plan. We're going to begin with an overview presentation. Following this, we will try to answer clarifying questions that you all might have before starting our public hearing, where you will have an opportunity to provide public testimony to a hearing officer. If you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to send them via the chat box, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. Questions will be answered after the presentation has concluded. Participants will also be able to use the raise hand function to ask questions to staff as well. If at any point during today's meeting you are having technical difficulties, please send a message via the chat box or send an email to planning.oltnp@lacity.org, and staff will be happy to assist you. And with that, we'll begin our presentation.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to review the Orange Line Transit Neighborhood Plan, or the OLTNP. The OLTNP team consists of Principal City Planner David Olivo, Senior City Planner Sarah Hounsel, City Planner Patrick Whalen, City Planning Associate Alex Linz, and I'm Planning Assistant Alexa Vasquez. Today's agenda includes a high-level overview of the proposed plan and the legislative actions to adopt the plan, answering clarifying questions, and obtaining formal public feedback on the proposal. In an effort to give people more time to access the details of the plan, in-depth presentations on project background, state and citywide housing initiatives, zoning around each station area, and the plan's mobility updates were posted approximately 1 month ago and are available on the project website at planning.lacity.gov/OLTNP. We encourage you to view each in-depth video. In addition to the public testimony portion of this hearing, public comment may be submitted by email to planning.oltnp@lacity.org or by mail to 6262 Van Nuys Boulevard, room 351, Los Angeles, California, 91401. For inclusion in the staff recommendation report to the City Planning Commission, comments must be received by April 8, 2026 at 5 p.m. However, comments may be submitted either to the OLTNP team or directly to the City Planning Commission up until the CPC meeting, and there will be opportunities for providing input on the plan throughout the adoption process. Let's begin with some context on the OLTNP, its background, and vision and goals of the project. The OLTNP is a long-range policy and zoning update around 3 Metro Orange G-Line stations in the eastern San Fernando Valley. These are the Sepulveda, Van Nuys, and North Hollywood stations. These station areas are some of the most transit-connected and densely populated neighborhoods in the San Fernando Valley, with more transit connections being developed. Please note the OLTNP will not be rezoning parcels with industrial uses or those zoned for single-family residential, but these areas will be comprehensively addressed in the Southeast Valley Community Plan updates. The vision statement of the plan is to create thriving mixed-use districts that encourage sustainable living with multiple housing options and connections to neighborhood amenities and services. Based on community feedback and topics that emerge during outreach efforts, the plan's goals include providing housing for all incomes, encouraging more community-serving businesses and amenities, promoting a variety of mobility options, implementing standards that support a safe public realm, and supporting healthy and sustainable neighborhoods. The OLTNP will consist of the following project deliverables: updated land use maps around the Sepulveda, Van Nuys, and North Hollywood stations, updated zoning around these stations applying the city's new zoning code, mobility updates consisting of amendments to the city's mobility plan 2035 within the OLTNP plan area, including modifications to enhance transportation networks and street designations, and environmental review of the project in the form of an addendum to the city's housing element EIR, as the OLTNP serves to implement the housing element's housing production goals. As of this public hearing, The project has now officially moved into the adopt phase, the final phase of the project. Following this, the plan will be reviewed by the City Planning Commission before moving on to City Council for adoption. The OLTMP will be the first plan in the San Fernando Valley to apply the city's new zoning code, adopted in May 2023. The new zoning code breaks development regulations contained in the zoning of a property into 5 components, with each regulating a different aspect of development. These are form, which determines the size and shape of buildings, frontage, which influences how buildings appear from street level, development standards, which regulate certain design elements around buildings, including access, parking, and signs, use, which determines what kinds of activities are allowed on a property, and finally, density, which determines the number of housing units permitted on any residential zone site. Under the new zoning code, every property in the city will have a zone string composed of each of these districts. Before we start our review of the proposed land use and zoning strategy for the OLTMP, we're going to provide a quick overview of the Citywide Housing Incentive Program, or CHIP, which has influenced the zoning strategy of the plan. State law requires the city to update its housing element every 8 years and demonstrate sufficient zoned capacity for housing to accommodate the required number of units identified in the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, also known as RHNA. RHNA is a California state-required process that seeks to ensure cities and counties plan for enough housing to be built for Californians of all income levels. In order to facilitate the construction of the required number of new housing units, the city adopted the Citywide Housing Incentive Program. The CHIP ordinance consists of 3 larger programs, each aimed at creating more housing. Of these programs, the Mixed Income Incentive Program, also known as MIP, has had the largest impact on the OLTMP zoning strategy. MIP is comprised of 3 individual programs of the Citywide Housing Incentive Program, which was adopted in February 2025 and is active across the city. That also includes the OLTMP area. The Opportunity Corridor Incentive Area Program, which incentivizes increased missing middle housing on major streets near public transit and higher opportunity areas. The Opportunity Corridor Transition Incentive Area, which promotes lower scale multifamily housing adjacent to major corridors in higher opportunity areas, and the Transit-Oriented Incentive Area Program, which updates and extends the city's Transit-Oriented Communities Program, which creates density bonuses and development incentives for areas that are well served by transit regardless of their opportunity area. In vast majority of the OLTMP plan area is covered by one or more of these citywide housing programs, meaning that these areas have already been rezoned to allow for greater height and density. As a result, the OLTMP proposes to at least meet the height, density, and floor area ratio which CHIP offers. California Senate Bill 79, or SB 79, allows for increased development potential for housing projects within a half-mile from major public transportation stations. As of now, the team does not anticipate SB 79 will necessitate changes to the TMP, as the OLTMP will not be rezoning single-family properties, and proposed zoning of multifamily properties in the plan area matches or exceeds what is offered by SB 79. The city is still developing its approach to compliance with SB 79, and single-family zoned properties that have been excluded from the OLTMP will be addressed through the Southeast Valley Community Plan updates. For more information on SB 79 and the Southeast Valley Community Plan updates, please visit planning.lacity.gov. As previously mentioned, the OLTMP is a plan that updates zoning around 3 Metro G-Line stations. That is Van Nuys, Sepulveda, and North Hollywood. The Van Nuys and Sepulveda stations are transit hubs with existing and future transit service to points throughout the San Fernando Valley. In addition to the existing Metro G-Line, which serves both stations and is in the process of receiving grade separation and service improvements, there are also dedicated bus lanes on Sepulveda Boulevard that provide fast, high-quality bus service to the Sepulveda corridor. Future transit investments around the station areas include the Metro East San Fernando Valley Light Rail Transit Project, connecting the North Valley to the G Line Van Nuys Station, which is currently scheduled for completion in 2031. Additionally, the Metro Sepulveda Transit Corridor Project is planned to connect the valley to West LA, following either a Sepulveda or Van Nuys alignment in the valley. The third station included in the OLTMP is North Hollywood, the urban core of the San Fernando Valley. The North Hollywood station is located at the intersection of Chandler and Lankershim Boulevards. It is a major transit hub as the confluence of the Metro Orange G Line and the Metro Red B Line that connects the San Fernando Valley with downtown LA. Planned and active transit investments will further enhance North Hollywood as a transit hub for the valley. These transit investments include improvements to the Metro Orange G Line, including grade separation at several key intersections, and a new bus rapid transit BRT line connecting North Hollywood to Pasadena. This BRT line will stop in North Hollywood at the B and G Line metro stations and at a new station at Hesby in Vineland. Now we will discuss the zoning strategy of the OLTMP. The planned commercial mixed-use areas are centers of activity with a broad range of businesses and destinations. Primarily commercial today, the plan will incentivize mixed-use developments here to create new housing opportunities. These areas consist of regional center and community center land use designations. In these areas, base floor area ratio, also known as FAR, has been set low to encourage use of the bonus system, which requires community benefits in the form of on-site affordable housing and amenities to be provided in exchange for increased FAR. Residential areas in the OLTMP consist of a variety of housing types. While the plan will not be rezoning any single-family zoned properties, it does aim to increase the number of housing units that can be built in the areas that are currently zoned for multifamily residential. The two land uses that make up the residential land uses in the OLTMP are medium neighborhood residential and medium residential. As we get into more traditional residential neighborhoods, the proposed scale and density of development starts to step down. This map shows the land uses and zoning proposed for the Van Nuys and Sepulveda station areas. The plan promotes development of additional affordable housing and opportunities to live, work, and shop in proximity to different transportation options while also respecting the character of existing residential neighborhoods by tapering down development density and scale between major corridors and residential streets. Regional center land uses in the Sepulveda and Van Nuys station areas are shown on this map in red and are applied near station areas and on major corridors. Sorry. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Regional center land uses in the Sepulveda and Van Nuys station areas are shown on this map in red and are applied near station areas on major corridors such as Sepulveda, Van Nuys, and Victory Boulevards. Community center, shown in purple, is primarily applied along corridors and at key intersections further from the stations. Residential land uses, including medium neighborhood residential, which is shown in pink, and medium residential, which is shown in orange. These land uses are primarily applied in multifamily residential neighborhoods further from station areas. Open space is shown on this map in light green, and public facilities are shown in dark green. This slide shows the plan's proposed general plan land use GPLU map for the North Hollywood station area. As with the Sepulveda and Van Nuys stations, the guiding principle of the approach to zoning around the North Hollywood station is to locate higher density and mixed-use development closest to the stations, as well as near major corridors and intersections. Regional center, shown in red, is centered around the metro station and major corridors on Lankershim and Chandler. Community center is applied further from the station on major streets, including Lankershim, Burbank, and Magnolia. Existing multifamily residential areas are proposed to stay primarily residential and lower in scale than the corridors. For a comprehensive list of zoning and land use zoning and land use updates, please refer to the OLTMP interactive zoning map available on the project website at planning.lacity.gov/OLTMP. And I'll hand it off to Alex Lins for the next portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Alexa. So in addition to updating the zoning in the plan area to encourage transit accessible and mixed use development, the OLTNP includes features that seek to respond to goals and objectives shared by the community during the outreach phase of the project. The plan encourages the production of affordable housing through an incentive system that permits additional development rights in the form of higher floor area ratio and building height in exchange for providing a mix of residential units at different levels of affordability. The amount of bonus FAR and height is set by the form district in each property's zoning. The plan proposes to set base levels of development intentionally low in order to incentivize developers to include affordable housing in future developments. The OLTMP allows for another level of development incentives to be unlocked in exchange for the provision of additional community benefits beyond affordable housing. These are referred to as Level 2 community benefits. Developments looking to utilize Level 2 incentives must first max out incentives offered through Level 1, or the provision of affordable housing, before being able to utilize the additional FAR offered by the Level 2 incentive. In the following two slides, we will highlight two Level 2 community benefits that developers may choose to provide in exchange for additional development incentives. Due to strong market conditions, the regional center land use in North Hollywood is the only portion of the OLTMP that allows for Level 2 community benefits to be accessed. North Hollywood is known for its historic arts district, a point of pride and identity for the neighborhood. However, there is concern about the area losing this identity as theaters and studio spaces close and market conditions evolve. Following this feedback, the OLTNP created a community benefit that offers additional FAR for projects that provide dedicated art spaces, be they artist studios or galleries, performance art venues, or movie theaters. Another concern heard during multiple outreach events in North Hollywood was the need for more open space. As North Hollywood continues to grow and become more dense, there's an additional need for quality open space for people to gather. To facilitate the creation of more open space, the OLTNP offers Level 2 development incentives for developments that provide privately owned public spaces. These spaces must include a set number of amenities found within a lot amenity space menu, with options including public restrooms, water fountains, seating, and shade. Community feedback and Department of City Planning analysis also indicated the need for increased shade along many important corridors throughout the OLTNP area. In response, the plan is introducing a new frontage district called Shopfront 5 that is aimed at producing more shade from new buildings. This frontage district will require new buildings to either provide a colonnade, awnings, or a recessed courtyard. Examples of each of these proposed options are included on this slide. Within the Van Nuys and Sepulveda station area, this frontage district is applied on portions of Sepulveda, Victory, and Van Nuys boulevards. In the North Hollywood station area, this frontage is applied on portions of Lankershim, Tujunga, Burbank, Chandler, and Magnolia boulevards. Finally, we will highlight a zoning tool that is meant to ensure public buildings contribute to a safer and more vibrant public realm. This tool is called a special lot line, which is strategically applied around all three station areas and requires building facades that face these special lot lines to feature windows and doors, entry features, landscaping, and more. They are applied to some select alleys with high pedestrian activity and portions of the Orange Line bicycle path where appropriate. Special lot lines are intended to better activate spaces where pedestrians and cyclists already are, and to create a better experience and more visibility for users of these spaces. We will now provide a brief overview of the updates to the city's mobility element, which are included as part of the Transit Neighborhood Plan. The city's Mobility Plan 2035, an element of the city's general plan, outlines a comprehensive vision and policy foundation for the city's transportation system that balances the needs of all users and mobility goals. The mobility plan does not authorize or implement any roadway or transit projects, but rather establishes a vision and parameters for future implementation. The OLTMP team has evaluated and proposed updates to current street designations and enhanced transportation networks that are assigned by the city's mobility plan within the plan area. The full list of mobility element updates is available on the project website for public review. The city's circulation system maps establish designated street classifications for every street in the city. These street designations are used to define the different types of streets and establish standard dimensions for each type of designation. These designations establish the total amount of right-of-way that is to be used for sidewalks, travel lanes, medians, and other roadway features that might exist. The OLTNP is proposing to apply new street designations to a limited number of streets in the plan area in an effort to increase sidewalk widths, respond to existing and planned infrastructure projects, and to maximize safety for all users. The Mobility Plan 2035 includes enhanced network maps, which identify priorities for different modes of mobility, such as walking, cycling, and transit on streets throughout the city. The enhanced networks shown on these maps identify which streets might best serve the needs of different non-auto users, and each enhanced network contains a set of improvements that should be made to optimize that mode of transportation. For example, streets included on the Bicycle Enhanced Network are targeted for enhanced bike infrastructure, including protected bike lanes, while streets on the Pedestrian Enhanced District map are eligible to receive improvements aimed at improving pedestrian safety and comfort, such as signalized crossings, curb bulb outs, and wayfinding signage. As with street designations, community and transit neighborhood plans present opportunities to update enhanced networks within the plan area. The OLTMP has proposed several such changes to the enhanced networks found within the plan's boundaries. We will now review the proposed legislative actions, which will be reviewed by the City Planning Commission in order to effectuate the plans and policies proposed by the OLTNP. The proposed actions are: update the general plan land use and zoning maps around each of the 3 stations, Sepulveda, Van Nuys, and North Hollywood. Repeal the NoHo Commercial and Artcraft District overlay and the portion of the Van Nuys Central Business District Community Design overlay within the OLTMP boundaries. Consider new proposed community benefits for implementation in the OLTNP. Reclassify select street designations and update enhanced networks in the Mobility Plan 2035. In order to fulfill the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, the OLTNP will utilize an addendum to the city's Housing Element Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, to serve as the environmental review for the project, as the OLTMP is a work program which implements the city's required housing element. The OLTMP will also use the statutory exemption that CEQA does not apply to active transportation plans developed by a local jurisdiction, as well as Class 1 and Class 4 categorical exemptions to serve as the environmental review for the mobility updates component of the project.
This concludes our presentation.